Tourists who had just been laughing and chatting suddenly looked down in unison, only to find that the surging seawater had vanished in an instant, their faces filled with confusion. At that moment, the observer in the watchtower spotted a towering giant wave rolling in the distance, and quickly pressed the red alarm button. The alarm sounded across the beach, and the tourists finally realized a tsunami was approaching, instinctively starting to run for their lives. However, human legs were no match for the tsunami. Yachts were swallowed by the huge waves, and the Ferris wheel was violently smashed by the seawater. Buck, a firefighter on vacation, picked up his nephew and ran with the crowd, desperately seeking a place to take shelter. Fortunately, there were many food trucks by the seaside. He quickly tucked his nephew into one of them, and just before the waves hit, dove into the truck with a leap. The turbulent seawater instantly submerged them. Buck was tossed around by the currents, and after struggling for what seemed like an eternity, he barely managed to surface. Clutching a power line, he shouted for his nephew, only to see the boy luckily holding onto an electric pole not far away. Buck swam toward him, but just as he neared, he was swept away again by the current. Buck struggled desperately, but to no avail, fearing this might be their final farewell. Sure enough, within seconds, his nephew lost his grip on the pole. Buck was nearly overwhelmed by despair, but as a firefighter, he refused to give up. Seizing the moment, he plunged into the water and fortunately grabbed his nephew as the boy floated downstream. The two drifted in the vast sea until a fire truck with its roof still above water became their temporary shelter. Buck quickly helped his nephew onto the roof, then mustered all his remaining strength to climb up himself. Eventually, they survived the tsunami. While simply using the toilet, a tentacle emerged from the ventilation duct. She looked at it curiously, and then the tentacle flew down.
911, what's your emergency?
An octopus clung to her face. It turned out to be a newly purchased octopus from the neighboring sushi shop that had escaped. Firefighters placed it in water, and it finally slid off her face. Just after finishing here, they went to dismantle a washing machine. A naughty child had locked themselves inside. Just after rescuing the child, an accident occurred at a balloon shop. A clown was accidentally buried alive by canisters while inflating nitrous oxide balloons. Another clown had a foreign object stuck in his throat. Firefighters told him to cough hard, and he coughed up a long streamer. It was a prank.
Everybody's a comedian.
After resolving this farce, someone else glued themselves to a billboard. This guy was an unknown singer who resorted to this method to promote his album. Firefighters urged him to come down, but he refused. He had rented the billboard for 24 hours. Wouldn't it be a huge loss to come down now? Helpless, the firefighters had to set up an air cushion. Just as the air cushion was set up, an accident occurred on the billboard. The tape had been exposed to the sun, significantly reducing its stickiness. Watching the tape break one by one, firefighters rushed to the ladder, but it was too late. The singer fell directly from above. Thankfully, the height wasn't too great, and the singer landed on the air cushion unharmed. He stood up excitedly to cheer, but forgot he wasn't wearing clothes. Now he was truly famous.
Keep that as a souvenir.
A bullet pierces his chest. Blood splatters all over his teammate. Before he can understand what's happening, the sniper cocks the rifle again. Fortunately, the nearby police officer reacts quickly. He tackles Buck to the ground. This saves Buck from being shot. Seeing Eddie lying in a pool of blood, Buck ducks under a car. He risks his life to lean out and drag Eddie back. Taking cover behind a fire truck, the group quickly heads for the hospital. But shortly after arriving at the hospital, the TV station suddenly breaks the news. Another firefighter has been shot. Now everyone realizes the shootings are no coincidence. They are deliberate targeting by a sniper. The police immediately launch an investigation. By simulating the sniper's shots, they find a spent shell at the scene. But surprisingly, ballistics testing reveals a clue pointing to a sniper who recently quit the SWAT team last month. The police promptly organize an arrest. They successfully apprehend the suspect, but the suspect claims after resigning, he buried his gun in the backyard. He hasn't used it since. The police quickly dig up the gun. As he said, there is indeed no gunpowder residue on it, but the bullets are confirmed to be his. Then the female police officer suddenly realizes snipers usually have observers. Maybe the observer is the real killer. But just as this lead emerges, the observer strikes again. He false alarms about a fire to trick firefighters. Now he is holding a gun, ready to kill. He hates these firefighters for saving the wrong people. It turns out that during a previous mission, he and his partner accidentally injured a hostage. The hostage died on the spot, but the firefighter saved the kidnapper's life. This outcome deeply traumatized him. His mind twisted, he began hunting firefighters. After saying this, he prepares to pull the trigger. At the critical moment, the police arrive in time. They end his life prematurely, bringing an end to this unnecessary tragedy. High school students were visiting the university when an asteroid hit Earth. With a loud bang and a strong airwave, several asteroid fragments hit the buildings hard, shattering countless windows. Austin City was thrown into an apocalypse. A girl quickly called emergency services, but the operator's face paled instantly upon answering, because the alarm sound in the background was a nuclear alert. It turned out there was a nuclear energy research institute at the nearby university. The falling asteroid fragment had hit the cooling tank. The reactor's interface showed that due to excessive pressure in the cooling tank, the core was heating up rapidly. At this rate, it would completely melt down in less than 10 minutes. Firefighters had to find the emergency stop button to shut down the reactor within 10 minutes. But where was it? The emergency center tried to contact the director, but couldn't get through. He had fallen and passed out when the asteroid fragment struck. Fortunately, firefighters found him, and the team doctor revived him, obtaining the location of the emergency stop button. The cooling reactor continued to heat up, and the pressure was now off the chart. By the time firefighters arrived, the reactor began to shake violently, followed by an explosion. Several firefighters were injured. Just then, the computer warned that the core temperature was too high and melting down was imminent. The captain left some team members to care for each other and went to shut down the reactor alone.
Core temperature too high. Meltdown imminent. Shut down reactor immediately, or nuclear meltdown in 10, 9,
Come on, Owen.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fission reactor terminated.
This son bitch did it. That son of a bitch did it, boy!
Fission reactor terminated. He hit the scram button.
A corrupt company seeking to cut costs secretly hid radioactive cobalt-60 nuclear waste in a truck transporting ordinary chemical waste. The driver, having uncovered the truth, grew increasingly terrified. Distracted, he nearly struck road maintenance workers, swerving sharply to avoid them, only to trigger graver consequences. The truck careened out of control into a tunnel where a following vehicle failed to avoid a rear-end collision. At the moment of impact, the truck's carriage deformed and tore, igniting an eerie white flame. Upon receiving the alarm, the emergency center urgently dispatched fire trucks to the scene. Learning the truck carried chemical waste, the fire team donned protective suits before entering the tunnel for rescue. Seeing the white flames inside, they initially assumed it was magnesium powder burning, until reviving the truck driver revealed the harmful truth.
That's not all that's there.
What else is back there, Ernest?
Cobalt-60.
The firefighters present were instantly horrified. These profit-driven companies had sunk to unspeakable depth.
This is Captain Nash. Be advised. Be advised. This truck contains cobalt-60. Start evacuating this area in a 3-block radius and order all non-essential personnel outside the perimeter now.
The magnesium powder continued to burn fiercely, and if the cobalt-60 container was breached, radiation at the scene would reach Chernobyl-level intensity. The captain ordered all to evacuate the casualties, staying behind himself to contain the fire. But fire extinguishers, effective only against ordinary fires, were powerless against burning magnesium powder. Team members attempting to return to help were halted.
Negative. Cobalt has ignited. We're at gamma radiation level. I repeat, we're at gamma. Hold your position.
As the fire intensified, the cobalt container neared complete breach when, thankfully, a liquid nitrogen truck arrived in time, bringing the blaze under control and averting a catastrophic nuclear leak. Though the firefighters emerged victorious, the captain had been exposed to radiation, leaving uncertainty about how much his fire-resistant suit had shielded him. Subsequent hospital tests showed the captain's organs function normally, and while he required 3 months of close observation as a precaution, this was the best possible outcome.